Motherhood ain't easy. This journey is not always sunshine and margaritas. You show love the best way you can. You sometimes raise your voice. You get overwhelmed. You cuss a little. And at some point, you feel like you are doing it all wrong. But here's the good news. You are not alone.
So buckle up and tune in as we laugh, cry, and overshare about our journeys in motherhood. Welcome to Respectfully Unfiltered. Welcome back to another episode of Respectfully Unfiltered. Ooh, this week we got a good one. Actually, they're all good, but
I feel like this week is a serious one. Usually we're
yeah,
like kiki, and I'm sure we're gonna kiki this because we kiki everything. Probably why we
that
mentally
part.
unstable. But
That.
this one is
All of
more
this is true.
serious than
Yeah,
usual.
true.
Yes.
So, breaking the silence on mental health.
Um, Stop doing that.
You know, bad.
Whew.
So I feel like there's been a lot of talk more so recently about mental health and self-care and the people, the getting therapy and
Mm,
just all of that becoming more, more of a forefront now. But I want to talk about like why or why do you feel or do we feel that mental health is often downplayed or not talked about as much
mm.
in motherhood or in womanhood? Um,
Shame.
oh,
We are taught that we're supposed to be able to do it all, have it all,
mhm,
be the everything.
yeah,
And then when we get into these roles and we don't have our circle and support system and we start
mhm,
dropping balls because we are only human and we cannot do it all, we feel shame because for so long it's been embedded in us that you're supposed to be a good wife, you're supposed to be a good mom, you're supposed to be good at your career, you're supposed to be 110% at all of these things, and it's just not realistic. However, the message that was given to us is that's what you
mhm,
need to be. And so the shame of realizing that I am nowhere near 100% at one
yeah,
thing, let alone all 400 things,
all
you
of them
start feeling inadequate. And then
and
you don't
flawed.
want to talk to people about it, especially in the day and age of social media, because everybody's got their shit together and everybody's doing better than me and everyone's handling it. And when you start peeling
Yeah,
back the layers, you realize that's not true. But nobody wants to be out there and upfront. But guess what, y'all? We are. We don't got our shit together. We don't know what the
definitely
fuck we're doing.
not
And there
together.
ain't no shame in our game. It
Yeah,
is what the hell it is.
it is what it is, especially now. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like there was shame
Yeah.
before, right? And that kind of goes into the next kind of question is like, what has helped you or others feel safe in sharing, our mental challenges? Um, I think for, I think for me, um, I don't know if necessarily it was a feeling of safety. I think more so I'd gotten to a point where it was like, I need help or my friends and family are going to bury me. Like
Hmm.
it had gotten to the point where and
There is no other option.
there was no other option. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, I feel safe expressing this. It was, I would honestly like to live.
Yeah.
Like I don't I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to wake up every day like dreading my life or not wanting to be here or not feeling adequate
Hmm.
as a mother, constantly feeling like I'm failing or constantly feeling like I'm failing as a wife or a friend or
Hmm.
a sister. Um, and then you add the mental health issues on top of that, right? And it's just like I'm just failing all around and I'm just broken. So there's no way for me to fix this brokenness. So I might as well, not be here. Um, and I think that was the hard part, but like it would have been harder for me not. So like going to therapy
Mm.
and, getting the diagnose and I do air quotes for the diagnosis because um it was hard in the beginning hearing it and then also not making it my identity
Mm.
um because like it just gave me more information about who I was, right? So okay, diagnosed with XYZ, what tools or
Yes.
what resources can I use to like, okay, well, my brain is wired like this. So communicating like, hey, like I got whatever,
I
like,
got this half of the book.
yeah, like I need like communication. So, that was kind of like my first homework assignment, right? For my
Mm.
therapist is like, um, you need to have people around you that you can like when you are having like those low days, like, hey, I'm not feeling 100%.
Yeah.
But it is really nice to be seen without having to communicate that.
Mm.
But I also feel like I've done a good job or not. Like, I don't even know how to categorize that as like hiding it for so long, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm the one, like,
You're the
you know,
happy, everything's
yeah,
fine, walk into a room, ha
yeah,
ha ha ha
yeah.
ha. Yeah.
And in it's what happened? I went went to go get a Brazilian wax with my sister-in-law. Well, I went to go get wax. She just went with me. And we walk into this place and I am just like chopping it up with like all these, the waxticians or whatever. And, I'm just like, just strutting in, just like, yes, I'm here to get my wax me front to back, do it all, whatever, whatever. And afterwards, my sister-in-law, we got back in the car and she goes, those people would never know that you're struggling with the things that you're struggling with. I said,
No.
no, like not at all. Like, and I say do a good job at hiding, but in reality,
It's actually
if I end up
horrible.
hiding it
Yeah.
so long that I end up unaliving, then it's like, you hear where those people are just like, oh my God, I didn't know they were struggling like that.
Yeah. And you're not
Yeah,
supposed to because you
yeah,
hide it. Like, like
yeah. Like, and it's not necessarily a good thing, but
no, it's a
like,
horrible thing, but I think also in that state it's one of those again when you're just trying to survive, it's like
mm-hmm,
as much as you do want to be seen, you also have the fear and the shame of
mm-hmm,
explaining, well, why do you feel like that? And for
yeah,
people who don't realize, a lot of things are chemical imbalances,
mm-hmm,
or a lot of things are PTSD trauma responses. And so
yeah,
when, well, just be happy. Gee, thanks. I hadn't thought of that. I
yeah,
really love thinking about driving my Chevy to the levee every day. Like,
yeah.
let me just be
So much
happy.
fun.
And
Yeah,
so it's like to avoid having to kind of
have those conversations.
have those conversations.
Mm-hmm,
And then not only that, but have those conversations, have somebody willingly listen and actually understand and not listen to like, well, oh, just do this or oh, just do
yeah,
this. It's difficult and you're already
mm-hmm,
struggling. So it's like, it's one more thing to have to get
yeah,
through
yeah,
versus just going in and being the sunshine and whatever and then going home and then completely losing it.
yeah,
So as much as people are like, why don't you just talk to somebody? Well, unfortunately, because a lot of somebodies don't understand. And I don't think it's
right.
from a place of malice, but again, with our inherent needs, like want to fix things and people, it's like,
Mm-hmm,
oh, well, just, and it's like, yeah, that's so
mm-hmm,
easy to say if you're not the one struggling or if you've never been there. But nobody wants to feel like this every single day. So if it was just an easy switch of, I'm just going to be happy today, like
listen,
I would do that, like,
okay, smurf me up, troll me
Yeah.
up, like hug time. Okay, I love
Yes.
hugs,
Oh,
but like
listen, you
I
probably
love.
actually,
I would really enjoy that. Like
yeah.
I want a free hug shirt. Like bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Yes,
Mm-mm.
but like yeah, it is. It's it's hard because like trying. You're right. Trying to explain it to somebody who doesn't have that chemical
Yeah.
imbalance is just like, oh well, da 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 da, and I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. And then you get in certain, you know, religious or religion
Yeah.
communities, and it's like, oh well, just pray
Just
about
pray
it, or
about
oh,
it.
just like, but I think that
And
there's
not to negate
also
that. Yes,
not to, no no no
absolutely.
no yeah, but I think that
Pray,
there are other
whatever.
things that need to
Yes.
be
Address.
yes, addressed with it and unpacked, and
Yes.
like for me, I needed to be put on medication
Yes.
as well as going to
Yes.
therapy and doing the meditation and going to the gym and all of that
Yes.
because like, and I wish I would have done that sooner because
Yes.
is this what it feels like to wake up without like wanting to drive your Chevy to the levee? Like, because like for me, like it was like a night and day
Mhm.
experience. Like, I was doing my little research and it's like, oh, well, it takes like a week to feel the differences. Hours, hours. And I was just like in tears because it was just like,
You had suffered for so long.
God, like this is what it this is what normal people.
Girl, you still ain't
Okay.
normal. Backtrack that one.
Okay. I'm not normal. Really not. I'm really not. But I got a little taste.
A balanced brain feels
Yes, there you
like.
go. Like it is just like it's different,
Mm.
and like and trying to figure out how do I navigate the invisible load of motherhood
Oh,
and also balance like my personal like needs and mental health, right?
yes.
Because like I have a wide range of ages in children,
Wow.
from like 3, 9, 15, 18. Like, so like obviously the needs of the 3-year-old are not going to be the needs of the 18-year-old and, vice versa. But like there are times where I just need a hug. I just need to be held.
Mhm.
You know, Definitely not getting it from, the 18-year-old or, sometimes maybe the 15-year-old and even times the 9-year-old is just like, not right now. And, even times the 3-year-old is just like, no kisses. And I'm like, love my kisses all the time. But it's hard to navigate that. Like there are like the multitude of windows that pop up in my head with the
Mm.
things that need to be done, right? Like being, homeschooling them, making sure I have their curriculum, making sure that um they have their schedules, they're on top of their stuff. Like when we moved, like remembering to terminate the home education in our old state, restarting it in the new state, like making sure I understood the homeschooling laws here. Like those are things that I feel like that I am responsible for,
Sure.
like being at home, but then, I've got my own little battles, where,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, like the 3-year-old asks me daily, like, do you want to play Mario Kart? Do you want to play? Listen, mommy, first of all, mommy doesn't do Mario Kart because it goes around in circles and
And she
I do
old and she
glitchy.
can't.
Oh, shut up. So then it's like, well, do you want to play Mario Party? Do you want to play Rabbids? And I'm like, not right
Mommy
now.
just wants to exist right now.
I just want to sit here on this couch and I will watch you play. I will
Mhm.
cheer you on. I will high five you. And, and the 9-year-old, like, he loves to go to the gym with me. And I'm like,
That's my
this is
place.
mommy's time. This is
That's my
mommy's
place.
time. Like, this is, mommy's time. And, I
Yeah.
will take them sometimes where, we'll go early. and he likes to run and do laps, and
Yeah.
3-year-old likes to run with them, and it's just like, but this is like my time to like breathe and focus on me, and not have to focus on like, oh, is the 3-year-old too close to the
Being a
door? Is it,
mom.
yeah, like, it's so hard. And
Because there's constantly things
yeah,
going that you have to think about
yeah.
on
And
top
I know
of
people are gonna be
already
like, well,
struggling.
they didn't ask to be here. Like,
No,
okay,
they didn't, and that's
I
fine.
didn't.
And that's okay, great.
That's
Hear
cute.
that.
But like,
But guess what? I also didn't ask to struggle with challenges with my mental. And so
that
two
part.
things can be true at the same time. And
Right.
yes, it is my responsibility to ensure that I'm raising my children and they
Mhm.
are healthy. I'm not going to say happy because your happiness is dependent upon you and all of the things, but
Mhm.
yes, that's my responsibility, but it doesn't negate the fact that those can be your responsibilities and you can still struggle.
Yeah. So, have you ever reached a breaking point? And how did you bounce back? How did you get back to, I guess, a, your how from your breaking point, how did you get back to your balance? Like your not drive a Chevy to the levee.
I don't think I've ever been drive my Chevy to the levee, but I've definitely been like,
Mm,
fuck it. I'm not gonna put these clothes away. I'm just going through the motions of life. I'm not
mm,
living my life. I'm just
oh,
rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I wake
all
up,
the time.
I do this, I do this, I go to bed, rinse and repeat, rinse and
Mm,
repeat. That was probably, what, 2 years ago? When I didn't know you were at? 2 years
years
ago?
ago.
Yeah. And so backtracking, I feel like I've always been a person who has seasonal depression. I've always had anxiety, but I've always coped with it
Mm,
until I didn't. um, and there was like a breaking point in the winter, and like I was just going through the
mm,
motions of life, and like I would do laundry, but the laundry would never get put away, and
mhm,
I would clean things, but like not to the extent that I usually would, and certain things started to not matter. Like, oh, my daughter's books are over the floor for 2 weeks. Fine, whatever. It's not a big deal. Like, oh,
She's
I
gonna
haven't
take them
put
back out tomorrow anyway.
exactly, exactly. Like, why am I gonna hang up clothes? I'm just gonna wear them again. Like, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And for me, that was the first time I had to get on medication because your
Mm,
girl was not thriving. She was just trying to make it through the day
yeah.
so I could go to sleep. And then I would wake up and try to make it through the day so I could go to sleep. And that was that. Until I was like, actually, I used to not be like this. Why the hell am I like this? And so then I got my therapist to give me some medication, and it was a whole new world. I woke up the next day, literally the next day, from when I had taken that first pill, cleaned my daughter's room. I was cleaning my room. I was singing songs. I was doing stuff. And my mom will tell you, like, it was night and day difference
Yeah.
of going through the motions versus like
Yeah.
becoming human again. And I really don't know what made me hit that breaking point. I don't think it was one succinct one
Mhm.
thing. At that
Yeah.
point, like I had relocated, I was going through a divorce, I was getting a new job, like it was
Mhm.
just me and my kids. I was trying to live with
Yeah.
other like it was a lot of
It was a
things.
lot compacted together.
Exactly. And I think
Yeah.
for me, where usually I would have been able to just like cope with two or three of those
Mhm.
things, it was like, baby girl,
We
all
got
10 of
too
these
many.
things? Mm-mm. No, ma'am. Um,
Yeah.
and so that was that. And I've been fortunate enough, I say fortunate, but whatever, where like those things have passed and now I'm not on my medication, but I also still have that shit. So if I start to get back to that point,
Mhm.
like I
Mhm.
can be proactive and start it
Yeah.
again because for me, I look at medications as a tool. I look at
Yeah.
therapy as a tool and tools work well together. I also tell people like when you're going to therapy, therapy is great, but here's the thing about therapy. It's not a like you go and you're fixed. You have to be willing to do the work.
To
And
do
a
the
lot of
work.
people think that as long as they just walk into that room, like it's all good. And it's like, no, baby, walking into that room is the very first step. Actually
Mhm.
doing the work to figure out what's going on up here and how you react and how you repeat cycles and
Mhm.
how really everything comes back to you, that's
Mhm.
work.
And you have to be honest, right? Like
Yes.
that honesty, like if you can't be honest with your
Yep.
therapist, right? And completely honest, like
Complete.
transparent, because like you can't continue to wear the mask in
Yes.
therapy, because then you're not getting to the root
Nope.
cause.
And
And
that's
then
the
it's just like,
thing.
yeah,
But I
like,
think that's what's difficult for a lot of people when you're not even willing to be honest with yourself on that level. You can't be
mm-hmm,
honest with your therapist, right? Because you're trying to believe the facade that you're telling yourself. So like, no,
mm-hmm,
I'm not going to go in there and talk to her about X, Y, and Z because X, Y, and Z is fine because
yeah,
you have to be willing to be 100% honest
and
about your
vulnerable.
shit
Yeah,
and let me tell you, for people who don't want to
listen.
be vulnerable, therapy fucking, it's great.
Yeah. And I think it's hard too, especially when you're not used to even being vulnerable with yourself.
Yes.
Like that part was just like, and there were times where like I would go to therapy and then sit in my car for 30, 45
Yes.
minutes after crying because I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know, like, whatever. And then it's kind of like opening that, kind of like cracking that window to kind of, let the air in and kind of like see, you know, what we can kind of like navigate through, right? So it's
Hmm.
like, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, like when was talking about the diagnosis and stuff, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, so it's like the window cracks a little bit, and you can kind of see like, oh,
Oh.
so my brain is wired like that, so I can do this, and this to kind of counteract that,
Yeah.
to be proactive, because, and it's just like, oh shit, we got tool, like I
Yes.
might be all right.
Yes.
Yes. And it's just like, okay, all right, we going. But listen, the thing about healing though is just like there, for me, it has always been something to remind me that I am not as healed as I thought I am or thought I was, or no, that area got a little bit more work to do. And it's
And
just
it's
like,
always going to, because
yeah,
here's the thing about healing. Like, everyone thinks there's like going to be this
like a
linear,
stop, like, yeah,
definitive, like,
no,
I'm healed. And
it's
here's the
not,
thing about life.
it's not.
Life is a circle, and you will keep coming back around to similar
Hmm.
things over and over
Hmm.
throughout your whole entire life.
Yeah.
And you will have different perspectives as you're going about that circle over and over and over. And yes, you will start to handle things differently as you're healing, but
Hmm.
there is not going to be a time where you like, you know what?
I
Somebody
reached
just,
it.
yes, like no. And that was one of the things I think early on I had to realize because I'm like, oh, I got daddy issues. If I just da 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 da, then girl, no. It's the constant over and over of okay, now I'm looking at this from a different lens. Okay, now I'm here again and
Hmm.
I'm looking at this from a different lens.
Yeah.
And constantly having a new field of reference and
Yeah.
building upon the lessons that you've learned previously.
Hmm.
There is no like signed, sealed, delivered. Did it? Nah, it don't work like that.
Wish they all don't, because I feel like I'm not who I was when I was in high
When
school,
you
or
were completely different even from when we met to now. When we met, you were a fucking mess. Respectfully.
I mean, and I take that, right? Like, because I was like, I didn't know how to navigate. I didn't know,
Yeah.
like, I thought I was completely broken, like I couldn't be
Yeah.
fixed, or
Yeah.
whatever. But like now with therapy, and kind of knowing how I am, like I can counteract that, like
Mhm.
with the tools. We're not watching Thriller. You want to watch Thriller? I don't. I don't know. I don't know how to get into that. Who does? that dad's not here.
She's like, call him.
Yeah.
Have him walk you through it.
Go ask Bubba Eric to put it on his TV. Anyway, so this is Roman. My 3-year-old is obsessed with the Sing version of Thriller. So that's all he wants to listen to and watch and play. I don't know how to do that, baby. I don't. I don't know how to
Listen,
do it.
he's TT Caitlin you. You don't know how to do it, you better figure it out. Not him telling you press this.
Yeah, he's pressing the numbers on the keyboard. I mean, on the. That's not right. See, incorrect pin. And if we press it too many times, it will lock us out. If he pressed that code and it really opened, I was about to be floored. Like, completely floored. Okay, so how do you think in society, like the pressure of being the perfect mom or the perfect woman impacts
hmm
um our mental health as women? Or
Deteriorates it. We can't have it. Like, are you kidding me? You want to put me in this pressure cooker and expect me to be smooth sales? No, it doesn't work. It does
yeah.
not work. The pressure again of being perfect and having it all together and never needing a moment, and your kids are always so well behaved and they do exactly what they should, and you're the perfect wife and you're the perfect spouse and you're it just adds to the insanity of everything else that's always going on. Like, there's no such thing. And I think that's why a lot of people's mental health deteriorates. One, because we have unrealistic expectations, and two, because we are taught to bottle it if we are experiencing something. So
Mhm.
rather than being able to
Yeah.
have dialogue about it, to get it out, to realize that you're having a similar experience too, and oh my gosh, so is she, and so is she, and this
Mhm.
isn't just isolated to me. We're
Yeah.
taught to just shh and bottle
Y-
and bottle.
Yeah. So instead of having that, instead of like end up connecting and creating that community, you're
hmm
isolated thinking that you're the
You're
only
the
one
dud.
going through it. Yeah,
Yes.
like, and so true. So true. The countless amount of times of me carrying it well or hiding it well and thinking and
Which is
feeling
so
like,
funny to me. That's just so funny to me.
why would you like to share why you feel like that's so funny to you?
Because I think anyone who, like, okay, how am I not gonna be an asshole and say this?
That's interesting. Go ahead.
It's not. So I'm just gonna say it. If you are close to you, baby girl, you're not fooling anybody. Like, it was very apparent from day one that you was on the struggle bus. Like, this was not breaking news. This is just like when you shared your diagnoses and you're like shocked, and I'm like, sound about right. Like, wasn't I was not in any way surprised. I was not like, what? Like, for it's just wild to me that you were around people and this was late breaking news, because for me, I'm like, girl, why did this take so long? Like, this is
And
very apparent.
but I wonder if it was apparent to you because you've been in therapy and you've been
Mm,
doing the work, on yourself.
hmm
Um, so maybe that's why,
Maybe.
it was, apparent. Because I don't know. I mean, I thought that was too that was too quick and too abrupt. You could have paused a little bit on that,
That would be
okay?
very fake.
I thought I was winning Grammys for my acting skills and ability.
That's me, baby, not you. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay.
Nah, ma'am. This was a very duh for me. So when you over there like nobody knew and I was just a light. And here's the thing. Yes, you did have that like bubbly, exuberant like
Mm-hmm.
personality, but I think for me too, it's just like usually the people who are like that are the ones who are masking
Yeah.
something, right? So it's like, girl, I see you. Like, what you doing all that for?
And I think that annoyed and
Oh, it
frustrated
did.
the shit out of me so much because I feel like I was so used to if I'm telling somebody I'm fine, and maybe that was because their life was in, shambles
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, and they didn't have the capacity to take on, my extraness or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case may be. Um, but like your ability to see through my bullshit, it, I love it because I can't hide with you. But
Mm-hmm.
I also hate it because I can't hide with you. Like, I like, and even if I don't want to talk about it, you're like, okay, I'll let you have that. We're gonna circle back though. And then we go on and talk about something else, and I'm over here thinking that we forgot, and
Yep.
well, I'm thinking that you forgot,
I'm gonna let you
and
slide.
and it's like, okay, well, all right, nah,
Nah,
we
nah, nah,
still
nah,
need to, and
nah.
I'm like,
Yes.
I thought you forgot, and you're like,
No.
no,
And I think that's
we
because
didn't.
I know how detrimental bottling can be, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, no, there's clearly something that needs to be discussed, whether you want me to just listen, whether you want me to help problem solve, whether like you just want me to lay on the floor with you. Like there's something there. And so we're not going to have a moment where it's like, there's clearly something off and I'm just going to let that slide. Because I feel like that's how you go back into hiding and then you just start bottling and then you're not handling those things and it's just a spiral. So it's like, yeah, we can kiki and ha 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 and pretend like everything's all good, but we gonna talk about whatever the hell's going on.
Yeah, you don't let me self isolate for too long.
Nah, not
That's,
happy.
I love that though. So, what made you get to the point, or I don't even know how I want to ask that. Like when you actually were like, "No, I need to go to therapy." Like because and I say that because there are people, and it was me too, right? Like I feel like I grew up in a home where it was just like what
Especially our
happens in our house,
culture.
like what happens in our house stays in our house type thing. So like
We don't need it. You're weak if you need that. Just
like
pray. Just pray. Like,
yeah,
yes.
like
Yep.
but
Girl, okay, I'm gonna be real
yeah.
honest. So I've been in therapy for hellas since college. And college was a long time ago. And
Not
here,
that long ago.
yes, it was. Here's what made me go to therapy. I did not grow up with my biological dad. I met my biological dad and all his 18 billion children, and all them hoes need therapy, and he need therapy. And I said, I will be damned. And then he stayed in my life for like a little minute. I allowed him to stay in my life for a little minute, and I just kept seeing the dysfunction.
Mm,
And I'm like, I don't want to be like that.
mm,
I don't want to not be self-aware. I don't want to keep perpetuating cycles. And so then I was like, okay, well, if you don't want to do that, you currently don't have the tools to not. So what are you going to do about
mm,
that? On top of the processing, the traumatic shit that I went through with him of like,
yeah.
okay, let's process that. Let's gain tools. Like, let's end the BS now. And so that's really what it was. I think had I not met him and not let him be in my life for a little minute, I probably would have been like, oh yeah, I got some issues, but they ain't that bad. Girl, yes they are. I am a firm believer that everyone needs therapy. Therapists have therapists. And from my perspective, if the fucking professional got a fucking professional, my ass need a professional.
Listen. That part
Look,
too.
because it's one thing. Life be life sometimes, and
Oh,
you don't even necessarily have to be going through something, but I think too for a lot of people just having a soundboard, because again, we don't have community and a lot of people like
yeah,
are isolated. Having someone to like, okay, am I crazy like for having this be my thought process, or what's a different way to look at something that I'm
yeah.
looking at? That sort of thing.
Hmm.
Everybody needs therapy. Everybody.
So, what barriers have you faced in seeking mental health support? Like, and how did you overcome them? Like, did you have you been with the same therapist that you've been with since college? Like,
No, and
did
you
you
should
get to a
not. Here's the thing. You are going to be at different levels of your life. And
certain?
so if I was with the therapist that I was with in college, that's a problem because I haven't changed a shit. Nothing. I haven't changed
Mm,
nothing. So why is she still the person that I'm going to years later? I'm not even going to do that now. That just doesn't make sense. And I think too, as you grow, your therapist also grows. And making sure that you have the person that you do feel connected to, but not like, you're able to be yourself
mm,
and honest with the connection
yeah.
of being able to
Put
be
your
honest.
put your walls down.
Yes.
Take your masks off.
And I tell people all the time, like, you might go to a therapist and they might not be your therapist. That doesn't mean that you don't need therapy. That just means that's not your therapist. And that's
Yeah.
okay. You will try and try again. Like, I've gone through 5 different therapists at this point. And that's okay. And not all therapists are created equal. You will have some therapists out there that are willing to make boundaries. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. You want to get into that? You want to get
No,
into
I did
therapy
not.
boundaries?
No.
No? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Not every therapist is a great therapist. And it's important to have discernment. It's important to have support. And it's important to remember that at the end of the day, this is a service. And so if you
Yeah.
feel as though you're not being heard, if you feel as though you're not getting what you need to be getting out of it, it is okay to seek help elsewhere. A lot of people want to be polite. They don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And
And that's something you should unpack as well.
exactly. Why are you trying to people please when they're taking your money? It is a service. They are not your friend. It is a service. And so if you aren't getting what you need out of it, find somebody else. And that's difficult being a person of color because I personally prefer a person of color as my therapist. We have different struggles than other people, and I need someone to understand what it's like to be black. I need someone to understand what it's like to walk into a store and automatically be profiled, and now I'm in a
Hmm.
bad mood, and that just made me spiral. I need someone to understand what it's like today having black children growing up in 2025 with everything. Like, I need
Hmm.
someone who
Hmm.
understands why my anxiety is heightened. And
Yeah.
while some non-BIPOC therapists can do that, some can't. And so that's
Yeah.
why it's crucial to figure out if this person is a fit or not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think that when I actually don't remember how I found my first therapist.
Oh, you don't?
Uh,
Who was your first therapist? Well, you don't have to say who.
okay, my second.
Who was
Anyways,
your second therapist?
um, I loved her. She was
Hmm.
great.
How'd you find
She,
your first one?
I think it was a community event.
Social media.
No, I don't remember. I really don't remember how I met her either, but she was cool too. She also helped with like some business strategy stuff too. So I really liked her. Um, but the one that actually like gave me the diagnoses, like
Yes.
had we not moved, I'd still be seeing I'd still be seeing her because I really I really liked her. I liked the
You
fact
made
that
a
she
lot
gave
of
me,
progress with her for
yeah, and
sure.
she gave me homework that
Yes.
unpacked un I was gonna say unpacked it, that that helped me unpack like it not only our conversation, but like where I would do self-reflection to like unpack who I am and what I'm, struggling with and like all of that. So loved her. And
Yeah.
then, my next one is, I went through like an online, platform or whatever.
I thought we skipped one. I think it's
No,
important to tell the bad
we
stories
did
just like
not.
the good
We did
ones.
not. We did not skip any because that one wasn't really my therapist.
Okay. Tay
It
had an
wasn't really.
intermediate therapist while her thelapist was out on maternity leave, and this is why boundaries are so important because this said therapist did not have boundaries and was fine
Hello, baby.
pushing the line of what should have been pushed. And for people who are vulnerable and susceptible to certain things, that would have been very bad. So when sourcing a therapist, you need to ensure that your therapist has boundaries and isn't trying to sleep with your friend.
Okay. You're so cute. I love you.
And then your next therapist.
Online platform. The first one that I met with was an older woman. Didn't really feel like we clicked. And then
But she was trying to be nice
she
because
was
it was
I was
very, no, she
I
was
was
very
no
apparent from the first meeting after she told me that they were not a match, but she still went back and I'm like,
but yeah, I definitely people please and didn't want to like yeah. But then the next one was like
yeah.
yeah, I honestly need to get back to her. But
Mm-hmm.
she definitely was like she did what my my Florida therapist was, homework assignments, having me like, analyzing myself and and I don't really like analyzing myself, but
Nobody
which is
does.
what I need, right? Like I
Nobody
need
does.
to self analyze and like excuse me, self analyze and like having people, like you to kind of call me on my girl, you've been like that the whole time, or you don't know who you thought you was fooling. But but that also goes like the power of community, right? So have how have relationships with other women and other mothers helped you navigate mental struggles?
I don't like people. And I feel like a lot of my relationships with other women and other mothers have been part of my struggle because chicks ain't shit. That's the unhealed version of me. Let me stop.
I think it has been very hard, like
Yeah.
um because like I feel like in I don't like you get like this stereotype of like catty women or this like crabs in a barrel mentality where it's just like like oh and it's like why like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm at this stage now where I'm just like can we all just like come together help each other out like I'm very like let's get a compound and like like somebody be in charge of like gardening and farming and the other one in charge of homeschool and the other one in charge
Yes.
of like the baked goods and like and the person who loves animals like you over there getting the chickens and getting the egg like I eh, like when and I'm like that now like when we
Mm.
I mean I know that right now I'm not financially there but I'm getting there right
Mm-hmm.
um and I'm like that now like when I'm thinking about our business ideas and
Yeah.
thinking about the things that we okay I'll get it in just a second thinking about the things that I want to do in the enterprise. Ooh, it's twisting my shirt and the enterprise and the empire that you know we are building like I am building that with the people in mind, right? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why community is important, right? And I used to be upset and so like hurt, and I do still get hurt, but when people fall off or
Mm.
relationships don't work out, and now I'm realizing that it's for a reason, right? Because I am like this, like I have to be, and you've taught me this too, like I have to be extremely mindful of my energy and the people I'm around, um and the boundaries boundaries, because when I make it, the people that I'm around are going to make it. Like when you and I have talked about business before, I've made the comment, like anybody that is on our staff or on our team, like I don't want them to have any debt. Like I don't want them like in this society of like having to work because like, oh well, my kid is sick,
They
so
owe somebody.
I can't take
Yeah.
the day off because like
I
like
have to pay this
I
bill.
have to pay this bill. Like I don't
Yeah.
want them to do that. Like, and I feel like I'm definitely like for the win. Like I want us to succeed,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't I don't think that it's a crab in the barrel mentality. I think that like in the for instance, in the birth community, like I feel like there's enough people out here having babies that like
Yeah.
I might not be like, when I do become a midwife, like I might not be a good fit for you,
Yeah.
and that is okay. I
Yeah.
might not be the photographer for you. That's okay.
No.
My birth education course might not be for you. That's okay.
Plug,
But
plug,
as long
plug.
as you, but as long as you are getting that somewhere, right?
Yes.
So as long as you are feeling that safety in your birth space from someone, as long as you are getting the images that you want from someone, like, so community, community when it comes to mental health, you are funny, but I won't laugh. Like, it is important because, like, if you have somebody that is, and I feel like I was like that in the beginning of our relationship. Like I feel like I know you said that like I know you said that like as a friend, like you know we're all a burden, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in the beginning of our relationship, like I was constantly that, you know what I mean? Like constantly draining, always got struggles, like not willing to do like the mental work, the physical work,
Mm.
like oh my word. Can you get the thing? Hey, come here. Give me a hug. Um, Constantly. Um, Thank you. Good night. I feel like you definitely had to be a little rough with me sometimes because like, and I say that like because like I wasn't I wasn't taking it like, apparently I wasn't taking it when you said it gently. Um so
Which is so
like
funny in perspective is everything because I feel like I always kid glove you. So like
yeah, like you, but now it's like I feel like I've been on this journey of like kind of like finding out who I am and like trying to like what is my purpose
yeah.
or whatnot, and even being married.
Mm.
I I told I told Brian the other day, I was like, you know what? Like I I am coming to the realization, like I know, but like now it's becoming more apparent. You you are on your own journey and I am on my own journey. I
Yes.
am I find that I am more deeply connected to things than you are. Like like emotionally, all of it. Like when it comes to meditating and um uh doing the frequencies and the meditating and all of that, like I am more connected than he is. And then when we're supposed to be doing things or reading things or doing things together, and like he falls off or um doesn't show the interest that I want him to show, then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just stop doing it too. And I have to stop doing that because his journey is his journey.
It is
My journey is my journey. And I'm also learning that in my mental health, right? Like I need the affirmations because I struggle with my mental health. Like, and I need, with, again, going back to the diagnoses, like the way that I'm learning to plan or to
mm-hmm.
plan like my whatever is I read this. Okay, I started to read this book.
Oh, look at you
Started to read this
being
book
honest.
with a friend of mine, and then I stopped reading it.
I read it.
No, not this one.
Oh, okay.
Not this
I
one.
read ours that we stopped. That you
Yeah.
stopped.
Which one?
How to do the work?
You did finish it?
Yes.
You know what? And that's my problem. I'd be like, anyway, so I started and I partially read it, and then I like went to like ChatGPT and was like, hey, give me a summary of this book. So for me, I can't go through the beginning of the year and be like, oh, these are my goals for the whole year, and this is my New Year's resolution. I can't do that because come February,
It's too abstract.
actually, come January 29th,
15th.
stop doing that. You know what? That was going to be my first answer, honestly. That's the ridiculous part. But now I'm learning to take it like 12 weeks, 90 days at a time, and like taking that overall goal, like, okay, I want to do da 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 da. And like, okay, out of my list of the plethora of things that I want to do, what are 3 things I can focus on for the first 3 months and knock those out? Hence why the birth education course is about to launch, which is why we have like the meditation videos are starting to like, because I'm taking it chunks at a time instead of looking at the whole staircase. I'm looking at the
Yes.
steps
Yes.
at, so it's just so it's interesting, and the community part is just so spot on. Like,
How do you think your life would be different had you learned the tools earlier that you've learned in therapy and like how your mind works?
I think I would be able to, what I'm doing now, I would be more seasoned with it.
Mm.
So I feel like, you know, I might have a little more coins in the bank because I would have, don't do that. Um, because I would have learned
Yes.
how to, instead of thinking that I was broken for so long, I would have like used the tools, created the planner, because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that there are other people out there, like me, who need like a 90 days at a time,
Yes.
right? And 90 days to track, what habits are you going to work on this month? And another plug, that planner is on Amazon. I'll put the link in this video. Because this way you can track it, right? And then when you track it, you're able to be like, oh, dang, like I did. So I think that would have, having those tools would have made me more successful back then to be now. Instead, I'm working on it now so I can be more successful in, the future. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's how. Anyways, so this has been another episode of Respectfully Unfiltered. I told you we kikied, and it was, it was a little more serious than our normal, but that's womanhood, and that's just, you ready to eat? Lucky you, I'm wrapping it up, huh? All right, we will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.